Hello, hello. Welcome to Mangaka Broadcast Network TV platform designed to empower people from all walks of life with time-tested principle for the effective kingdom living. And we love to contrast worldly facts and kingdom with kingdom truth, which is the original truth. But today I have a health bulletin that is called the root cause of disease. Hi, Miss Veronique. How are you doing today? So let me ask you a question. Have you ever asked yourself where do the diseases start? Or why when you have a symptom, okay, let's say you have a headache, you have a stomach ache, we treat that, but how you find out what is causing that headache? What is causing that symptom? So everything starts at the root because our bodies start, our smaller structure is the cell. The cell is the smaller structure, okay? And the cells together make tissues. And the tissues together make organs, and the organs together make systems, and the systems together make the body. Now, we all know this body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Hi, Mr. George. You know that this body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. So we're supposed to be taking care of this body. So the more that we know how to work our body, how our body works, the more we understand and we're able to take care of our bodies. So if we take care of the root cause, if you take care of the root cause of the body first at the cellular level, you're going to be able to eliminate and prevent many diseases. So what are the root cause of disease? The root cause of disease, there are four root cause of diseases, main root cause of diseases. One is called the leaky gut. The second is called insulin resistant. The third is oxidative stress, and the fourth is inflammation. So those are the root cause of disease. So I'm going to explain what each one of us mean. Because the thing is that by the time you get a symptom, when you get a headache, when you get a stomach ache, when you get gas, when you get a pain, a lot has been going at the cellular level for a while before you get sick. There's no such thing as getting sick all over the sudden. Okay, the only thing that can happen all over the time is when you get an infection, when a bacteria that came in and give you an infection, like when you have an appendicitis, for example, which is inflammation of the appendix, because you got a bacterial infection, or you had that overnight stomach virus because you have an infection. Those can happen overnight. But all the degenerative diseases and chronic diseases that have been happening forever, everything that you've done, okay, from the time that you were born is what and your teenage years and your youth years that you have done have accumulated to what you have now in your 50s and your 60s and your 70s. So that's why it's very important for us to know the root cause of disease. So let's start with the first one. The first one is leaky gut. Now, our digestive system, we always think that our heart is the most important part of our body. But our digestive system is one of the most important part of the body. I believe is the most important because without the nutrition that you get from your digestive system, none of your other cells can work. That means that none of your other organs, none of your other tissues, none of your other systems can work without getting the nutrition that they need from the body. Okay, so that means that the digestive system is very important. But there's a root cause at the cellular level called leaky gut that happens inside the lining of your intestine. Okay, the lining of your intestine are like this all together, like together like this. And there are like tiny spaces like a mesh in between where when you are digesting your food, your nutrients pass through there through the bloodstream so the bloodstream can take the nutrients to wherever they need to go. But when those cells in there, the lining, the epithelial cells or the inside or the lining of your intestine gets damaged, why? By gluten, by inflammation, by eating too much sugar, by having ulcers, by taking many, when you're taking a lot of aspirin or Advil or all those pain medication, they cause erosion also as well in the cellular level when they come to the inside of your intestine. What happened now is that instead of just leaking your nutrients into the cells, you also leaking feces, undigested food, bacteria, and all those things are leaking into the bloodstream. That means that they're navigating all over your body, sitting down somewhere. So let's say, for example, you leaked some bacteria, it came out of your intestine into the bloodstream, and now it's sitting in your joints. So eventually, that's going to cause inflammation in your joints, and eventually, you're going to get arthritis. Let's get that feces that got leaked out of your system sit out in your muscles. Then you might have fibromyalgia or muscle pain. If you leak into the brain, if you leak into the brain barrier, then with time you might have Parkinson, you might have Alzheimer's, or one of those mental diseases, for example, depression or anxiety. Why? Because things are leaking out of the system, okay, causing inflammation. Why? Because inflammation, which is the main root cause of disease, is when the body, the immune system responds to the body like there's something there that doesn't belong there. That doesn't look like a. Let's say that whatever leg went into the joints, okay, and now the immune system is saying, okay, that doesn't look like a joint cell, so let me go and attack it, and that goes an inflammation response to attack it, damaging that, and because this is happening constantly and chronically, then that's how you get more diseases. So that's why it's so important for us to correct leaky gut. So how would the first thing, whenever you go to a functional medicine doctor or naturopathy doctor, the first thing that they want to correct is your digestive system. Why? Because they want to make sure that your cells are getting the right food. So the way that they do that is by first removing all the things that are causing the inflammation, that are causing the damage, like gluten, like too much sugar, sometimes some meat, especially dairy, no dairy. Those are the things that you need to start removing. And sometimes we got food sensitivities that we don't know about. So doing an elimination diet to find out why agree with your stomach or why doesn't, it's very important to eliminate those things that might irritate the cell walls of your intestines. Okay, and you remove all those things, and then you start eating things like that are rich in antioxidants, okay, rich in fiber, and you're going to be correcting that. So that's the first thing that you do, removing all the garbage. Then the next thing that you do is replace it with things that are good for your intestine, like an anti-inflammatory diet. Taking an anti-inflammatory diet, which means that it rich in vegetables and fruits and antioxidants that lower inflammation and lower the damage that is going to be causing to the lining inside your stomach. The next thing that you want to do is to repair. So how do you repair that? You take things like aloe vera, for example, that will repair. Papaya will also repair your intestinal lining. Another thing that will repair your intestinal lining is antioxidants. Will repair your intestinal lining. So doing all those things, eating good fats like avocado oil and coconut oil will also help. Bone broth is another thing that will also, because of the collagen. The collagen, that match is made with the collagen that is inside our is a type of protein that make those cells inside your intestines. So having some collagen in the form of bone broth will help heal your intestine. Now you already heal your intestine. Now you're not suffering on leaky gut anymore. That means that you're not leaking any garbage outside of your intestine, because everything's supposed to go from your mouth to the esophagus to the stomach to the intestine, and the intestine, all the nutrients are absorbed, and then the colon will clean up everything and the garbage go out, and that's the feces. That's the normal pattern on everything's supposed to be going through. So once you repair that, that's one thing that you already corrected. Then the second thing is insulin resistant. So what is insulin resistant? Okay, so if you know that we consume foods, and then when the foods are metabolized, especially carbs, we make glucose, and glucose is what gives us energy. That's why you can move, you can run, you can do all the things that you can do because of the glucose. Okay, but when you're taking too much glucose, there's a problem. When you're taking too much sugar, okay, and your body's making too much glucose, it's a problem. Okay, so let's say the cells are like this, like a circle. Okay, now the cells are inside. You have the nucleus where all your DNA is, and then you have little organelles around it that are called mitochondria. And the mitochondria, they're like the energy powerhouses of the cell. That's where all the energy is made up. And use the glucose, and they convert it into ATP, which is the source of energy that our body uses in order to move, to talk, to that we do. And metabolic processes that happen inside the body, that's the energy that it needs to work properly. So what happens when you have insulin resistance is that, let's say, for example, this is the cell, and the cell have pathways, or what I call, just for the sake of explanation, garages, okay, where things go in and out, hormones, insulin, sugar, everything goes in and out of there. Okay, the insulin is like a truck. Okay, the pancreas is secreting the insulin. Whenever you eat something that have a lot of glucose, or you're eating something that have carbs, then the insulin is released by the pancreas. It goes to the bloodstream and carry sugar, because the sugar will go by itself to the cell, so it needs to be carried by the insulin. So it carry the insulin carry the sugar, and it goes driving, and then it parks in one of the garages of the cell. Okay, it parks in one of the garages of the cell and dump the sugar. Now, when that process of dumping the sugar inside the cell cannot happen, that's when you suffer an insulin resistance. So what can stop that process? That process can be stopped for the fact that you are eating too much glucose, but you're not doing any exercise. So the body, the cells itself, is doing the math and it's saying, listen, I don't need no energy right now because I don't doing anything. So they close the garage and now you cannot put the sugar there anymore. So that makes you resistant. Another thing that makes you insulin resistant is the cell is damaged. Okay, if the cell is damaged, now the garages are not working properly, then the insulin cannot park and dump the sugar properly. Another thing that can make you insulin resistant is when you're in a lot of stress. If you're in a lot of stress all the time, in chronic stress, what happens is that, remember that your endocrine is going to release cortisol and it put you in a flight and fight response, meaning that all the energy is going to go to the arms and to the legs and not to the other cells. So now the other cells are closing the garages because, no, I don't need the sugar there. I need you to send the sugar to the arm, to the leg, because you're running after a lion or, from a lion. And that's why that's how the body interpreted it, and you're no longer getting sugar. Okay? So those are the reasons why you can become insulin resistant. And once you're insulin resistant, that means that that become a chronic process where you're insulin resistant all the time. Now that means that your organs are not getting the energy they properly need in order to work. So that's why when you're insulin resistant, the first thing that happens is that you become diabetic. Then it can cause damage to your eyes, damage to your heart, damage to your kidneys, damage to your liver. Okay, all these things happen. So how can you avoid getting insulin resistant? The first thing that you want to do, and another thing is that that I forgot to mention, is that when the insulin cannot dump the sugar inside the cell, the second job of the insulin is converted into fat. So it's like a how do you say this? It's a controversy because they give you insulin to lower your sugar, but when you are eating and not, and those people that decide, I eat whatever, and because I can put insulin to lower it down, don't understand, that the insulin lower it down by not able to put it into the cell, it make it into fat. So you're gaining weight, but they're telling you for you to lose weight, and you cannot lose weight because you're taking the insulin and eating too much. Okay, so that's very important for you to do. So how can you lower insulin uptake? The one thing that you can do to make sure that you insulin resistant, and make sure that every morning you take a glass of water with a lemon or apple cider vinegar. That help with the insulin resistant. Also, things like aloe vera help with insulin resistant. Cinnamon help with insulin resistant. Chromium, and one of the fruits that have a lot of chromium are grapefruits. So having grapefruits a lot during the day is also will help you. Making sure that you have a diet that is low in carb. Okay, and those are the things that are going to help you. Exercise, making sure that you're doing exercise, that you're burning. So that means that you're needing the energy, you're burning the energy, you're needing the insulin. So those are the things that will help you lower insulin resistance. If you lower insulin resistance, then that means that you're going to lower your incidence and get diabetes. So if you are pre-diabetic, you've been diagnosed as pre-diabetic, you're already insulin resistant. If you're suffering of bloating, stomach bloating, every time that you eat something sweet, you feel like you're bloating all the time, that means that probably you have insulin resistant. If you already, when you measure yourself, okay, if you're a woman and your circumference is more than 30 inches in the waist, most likely you're insulin resistant, because insulin resistant happen more in the cells that are visceral fat here, and that will cause the insulin resistance. So want to make sure that you do those things so you eliminate that insulin resistance. So now you correct the leaky gut and you make sure that you don't get insulin resistant. And then the next one is oxidative stress. So what is oxidative stress? Oxidative stress is the process of aging. Okay, it's the process of aging when it goes slowly, but also because of the amount of toxins and garbage that we consume, okay, that we're not taking care of our temple of God properly, okay, then oxidative stress is happening more rapidly. So what is oxidative stress? You understand that everything that you eat, everything that you smell, everything that you put in your skin, everything that you inhale, okay, all of those things go into the body, go into the blood, go into the cell, and need to be metabolized. So when it gets metabolized by the cell, the end product is a negative ion called free radicals. Okay, a negative ion called free radicals. So what those free radicals does are that they are by themselves. Okay, they are in pair because they're by themselves, and they want to be paired. They don't want to be lonely. They don't want to be negative. They want to go positive. So what they do is that they damage that cell until they damage completely, so they can go to the next cell to get a positive, to get another negative ion, so they can become a pair and become positive. So by doing that, what they're doing is causing damage and causing damage and causing damage and causing damage. So when the damage is happening, now that is called oxidative stress. It's the same thing that happened to an apple. When you buy an apple and you leave it open in the refrigerator and it's turned brown, when you do that to an avocado, that's its oxidative stress. When you see a metal that it get rust, that is oxidative stress. When we get old, especially people that are fair skin and they get those brown spots in the skin, aging spots, that's part of oxidative stress that's happening in the cells, the skin cells. Okay, so that's what oxidative stress does. So oxidative stress is the root cause of disease, because what happened with the oxidative stress is that damage the cell. So if the cell is damaged, it's not going to function the way that it's supposed to. So if the cell is damaged, it can cause the leaky gut if it's the cells inside the intestine. If the cells is damaged outside the intestine, it can cause the insulin resistant, because it's just the garage doors. Something is broken, it's jamming the entrances of all the pathways, where all the pathways, the hormones have to come in and out of the cell, causing damage to that cell. Because that's what the free radicals doing, is blocking everything so they can damage that cell, so it can come out and match the other one next to it. Okay, so it's going to damage the cell. So that's going to cause insulin. So now also, because the cell is damaged, and let's say it is a cell from your brain, for example, and now it no longer look like a brain cells, then, and also going to create the immune system to create an inflammation response that's going to go into that area and cause more inflammation, causing disease. Like if it was the brain, then it will be like Alzheimer's, like dementia, like Parkinson, like MS, So that's the reason why we need to correct the oxidative stress. So how we correct the oxidative stress? By consuming more antioxidants. But the problem is that because of the amount of oxidative stress, the amount of free radicals that we put in our body, they said that if you take a 3 with 23 zeros, I don't even know how to say that number in English, a 3 with 23 zeros, that's the amount of free radical that we get daily in every cell. So even if you eat tons and tons, let's say, even if you eat, let's say oranges that have a lot of antioxidants because they have vitamin C. Let's say even if you eat 100 oranges in a day, you are not going to be able to reduce that number of free radicals as much as you want. Why? Because what happened that when the Lord created us, when we were young, we used to have what it calls antioxidant enzymes that the body create, that the cell will create itself and clean up the cell. That's why when we are young, we don't get older. We get older, but we don't get old. Okay? Why? Because we're still making those antioxidant enzymes that is cleaning up the cell and cleaning up the cell and cleaning up the cell. So you notice that by the time that you turn 30, 35, 40, that's when you start seeing signs of aging, like fine lines and gray hair and stuff like that, because now you're making less and less until you get into a point that you're not making any more of those antioxidant enzymes that will clean up the cell. Now, when they did the study of the genome, they study all the different genes in the body, they find out that there is a protein inside the cell that when that protein gets activated, they can activate the cell to produce those antioxidants again when you're older. And that protein is called NRF2. Okay, NRF2 is called. And they created a natural supplement with the ingredients that will do that will activate the NRF2 so that it can activate the body to create the antioxidants. Okay, so when the antioxidants are created, then it will clean up the cell. Okay, and then because it cleans out the cell, so the integrity of the cell is going to be healthier. It's going to lower inflammation. Everything in the cell is going to work better, and the predisposition for disease is a lot less. So getting this treatment and knowing how to lower your oxidative stress, even when you're already suffering of the disease, it will do tremendous change. Because if you go to the Google and you go to PubMed.gov, that's where all the the medical studies are in the world. If you put oxidative stress and high blood pressure, oxidative stress and diabetes, oxidative stress and dementia, oxidative stress and MS, oxidative stress and different diseases, you're going to see that the main root cause of many of those diseases are oxidative stress because of the amount of free radicals that we put in our body. How do we put that amount of toxins in our body? In all our care products, personal care products, and all the garbage that we eat, in the stress and negative thoughts that we put, because remember that everything that we think, okay, we are what we think. So everything that you think is being transmitted into your cells, and all this negativity is creating those free radicals that's creating damage. Now those cells are damaged, and now the immune system is not recognizing it as the cell of that area, and it's going to create inflammation. Not to mention that when the cells get damaged, now all the processes that go in the cells, all those garages are open so the hormones can go in, so the nutrients can go in, so the sugar can go in, get damaged, and the natural processes of those organs start disintegrating, start not working properly. And that's what oxidative stress is. But now we know that we have, besides changing into a diet that is anti-inflammatory diet, and a diet that is high in antioxidants, and making sure that you get that supplement that is natural. If you want more information about that, you just have to write me. I'm down here in the comments, and I will let you more information about that will help you lower your oxidative stress, and that will do tremendous work for you. Now, the last thing that is the main cause of disease is inflammation. And what is inflammation? Inflammation is the same process. Let's say when you get caught, and what happens when you get caught? The first thing that happens is that the immune system sends an immune response, cytokines that goes into the area. You create warmth into the area, redness to kill everything, swelling into the area, blocking all the area around, so that you see the cut, you see all the around is ready, because it's blocking anything to coming in into that area to make sure that no more bacteria get into the area. So that's happening with inflammation. That's how inflammation is. It's blocking everything around. So the same thing is happening when you have chronic inflammation because of you are in chronic stress, and then you are not resting well, and you always eating garbage, and you always have a lot of free radicals in your body, and you damaging all these cells, and you have that chronic stress over and over and over. That's going to cause diseases into your system. Depending on where the inflammation is demonstrated at, that's the kind of disease that you want to have. So how you know that you inflame and that you have oxidative stress? For example, you know that you're inflamed when you have joint pains. If you have joint pains, if you're getting a lot of headaches, if you're getting a lot of stomach ache and indigestion, you know that you have inflammation. If you have swelling anywhere, you know that you have inflammation. If you have redness anywhere, you know that you have inflammation. If you have acne, you know that you have inflammation. Okay. Now, another thing that you can do to help you know how inflamed my body is, so that way I know what I have to change in my diet, in my routine, in my lifestyle in order to correct. If you go to the doctor and you said, okay, doctor, I want you to check my inflammation levels. And one of the tests that you want him to check is called C-reactive protein. C-reactive protein. That's a test that they do, and they can check the amount of inflammation in your body. That way you can control, okay, how much more exercise do I need, how I need to eat. It is important for us to know the state of our body, so we know what to attack and what to prevent and what to do with our bodies. Okay, so it's important that you know C-reactive protein. And another test that they can do is called sedimentation rate. Sedimentation rate. That's the other test that you can do that will help you find out how inflamed is your body. So remember, to recapitulate everything that I said, remember that the cell is the smallest unit of our bodies, and every cell creates tissues, and the tissues create organs, and the organs create the body. Remember that the root of this have leaky, that is when the mesh, the cells in the inner of the intestines are leaking garbage into the outside. Okay, and that's causing diseases, and you don't want that. That's the first thing. Then the second cause of root of disease is insulin resistance, when the sugar cannot go inside the cell because the garages are blocked for some reason, either because of inflammation, either because you're eating too much and not needing the exercise, either because the cells are damaged by oxidative stress or any other thing, and the insulin cannot get in there. Okay, and then the third cause of root cause of disease is oxidative stress, and oxidative stress happens to every single thing that we consume, even the healthy stuff that we consume, will produce some free radicals. The thing is that when we have too many of it, that's what happened in today's lifestyle, that we have too many of it, then it causes damage into the cell. Now the body don't recognize those cells as the cells of the area, and that's when inflammation come in and disease come in. Plus, and a lot of the other things get blocked because the cells is damaged. Now it's not taking the hormones like it's supposed to, not taking the nutrients that not supposed to. Thyroid hormones are not going there like it's supposed to, and creating more problems into your cell. And the last and major thing is inflammation. Now, the key is that all the other things, leaky gut, insulin resistant, and oxidative stress, they all cause inflammation. Okay, and inflammation is caused by one of those things. So they all come together. So if you can have an anti-inflammatory diet, make sure you eliminate gluten, that you eliminate dairy, that you eliminate red meat and a lot of the meats, unless you buy grass fed and things like that, then you want to eliminate all the things that can inflame your body. Eliminate all those vegetable oil because they have a lot of omega-6 and they are cause inflammation into your intestines. So eliminate those also. You want to make sure that you're eating healthy fat, avocado oil, like olive oil, like coconut oil. You want to eat a lot of veggies and vegetables, some raw, some cooked. Okay, and you want to make sure that you have the right amount of protein and the right amount of vitamins. Okay, and for example, the one way that you can help your gut, for example, to work better, you want to make sure that you are consuming some probiotics and prebiotics, because remember that the microbiome is made out of the good and bad bacteria that we have in our body, but we need to have more good bacteria than bad bacteria. When that balance is correct, a lot of the immune system is also connected to your good and bad bacteria, to the microbiome. So you really need to make sure that your intestine is good, so that way your immune system will have a good response as well. So you want to make sure that you're taking some probiotic and prebiotic, and to make sure that you get all the nutrients out of the food. And you want to help your pancreas release some enzymes that will help the food get digested. But sometimes we need a little bit more help. You can have some digestive enzymes that are going to help you to do that, and that's the way you'll be able to correct leaky gut. When it comes insulin resistant, you want to make sure that you eating a diet that is low in carb and that is low and is anti-inflammatory, and that you are making sure that you're doing exercise, that you're consuming all those you're consuming all the sugar that the body is that you're using, all the sugar that the body is consuming. Okay, to eliminate the oxidative stress, you want to make sure to eliminate toxins. Okay, the less toxins that you put into your body, less free radicals that you're going to make, less free radicals that they consume. So make sure that you change your cosmetics and all your cleaning products to more greener ones, including things that you put like air fresheners and stuff like that. Use essential oils instead. Okay, try to use more natural medicines. Take care of yourself, because also every medication that we take, especially if you're taking medication, is creating a lot of free radicals. Every single medication that you take, everything that is not organic, that is not made out of carbon, meaning that is made out of what God created, that is coming into our body, is creating more free radicals, creating more oxidative stress and more inflammation. Even though they're taking away your pain, or maybe it's helping in somehow, it's causing damage in the other way. So if you make sure that you eat right, and you make sure that you get the nutrients that you get, that you're using your sugar properly, and you lower your toxin, then you're going to lower your inflammation, and you're going to lower the amount of disease, or your predisposition to many diseases. We are responsible. We are the CEO of our body. Remember what I always tell you. Just pretend that your cells are your employees, and your organs are your equipment, okay? And your system are your different departments, and your human resources is your nutrition and lifestyle. You give the right things to your employees, the employees are going to be working right. If you give all the right nutrients to yourself, it's going to be able to work right, so that way the organs can work right, and that way your body can work right. So thank you so much. I hope this information helped you. And remember, I see you later. And remember, I see you at the top where the eagles are.